for President Biden to bow out of the race. Former Democratic Congressman Tim Ryan of Ohio says Vice President Kamala Harris should replace Biden at the top of the ticket. In a new piece for Newsweek, Congressman Ryan, a longtime supporter of Joe Biden, argues Harris, quote, deserves a chance to go to the American people and show us her mettle.
New York Times reporting today that President Biden told an ally he is weighing whether to continue in the race. The report is based on a conversation with a single anonymous source. NBC News has not confirmed the conversation, and the White House is denying it took place, saying in a briefing last hour that Biden is moving forward with his campaign. Nevertheless, more and more reports are questioning the president's future plans.
Okay, so let's discuss the 25th Amendment. This is going to be an explainer video. And the reason for this video is because there's still a lot of people in the dark on what exactly is the 25th Amendment, what's the purpose, how does it work? Because we hear a lot of noise right now after the debate, after the world sees that Joe Biden is senile. We hear a lot of noise saying, why don't you just activate or use the 25th Amendment? Kamala Harris should just become president right now. Use the 25th Amendment. We heard it all throughout Trump's presidency. Oh, Mike Pence just used the 25th Amendment. Trump is deranged. He's an insurrectionist. Blah, 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 blah. We heard all of that going on during probably the entire second half of Trump's first term. So I want to talk about how it works. I was looking at the Fox News panel. They were having a discussion on replacing Joe Biden, and the host was unable to articulate what exactly is the 25th Amendment. There was a lot of fever saying, yeah, it needs to be done, but they couldn't explain what it is and how the process works. So let's just look at it. Let's look at the article. So there are actually 4 sections of the 25th Amendment, and the one that you hear all the noise about Kamala replacing Biden, yada, 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 that's section 4. So let's just look at section 1 real quick. In the case of the removal of the president from office or of his death or resignation, the vice president shall become president. So that's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. The reason why we have the 25th Amendment is for national security reasons, for the succession of power if something happens to the president. Section 1 talks about what if the president dies, or what if he's impeached or removed from office. Straightforward, VP takes a spot. Section 2, whenever there's a vacancy in the office of the vice president, the president shall nominate a vice president who shall take office upon confirmation by a majority vote of both houses of Congress. Now, this is one that people don't really talk about much. What if something happens to the vice president? We still have the president, but we don't have a VP, so what do we do then? Now, this situation actually happened back in the day when Nixon's VP had to resign because they caught him up on some corruption charges. So what happens in this situation is the president nominates a guy. Nixon, I think it was Gerald Ford. Nixon nominated Gerald Ford, and Congress had to vote to confirm it. Section 3, whenever the president transmits to the president pro temp of the Senate and the Speaker of the House his written declaration that he is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office, and until he transmits to them a declaration to the contrary, such powers and duties shall be discharged to the VP as acting president. So this happened about 20 years ago. I think it was 2004 or maybe 2003. George Bush had to have a medical operation, so he actually used Section 3 to officially transfer presidential powers to Dick Cheney while he was in the hospital. So that's what that's about. If the president needs to go under for some reason, the power of the presidency needs to go to the VP. Now, let's get to the long one, as we can see. Let's get to the one that all the talk is about what Kamala Harris is going to do. Are they going to use this against Joe Biden? So I'm going to read this, and then I'm going to put it in a layman's term, give an easy scenario. Whenever the vice president and a majority of either the principal officers of the executive department or of such other body as Congress may by law provide, transmit to the president pro temp of the Senate and the Speaker of the House their written declaration that the president is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office, the vice president shall immediately assume the powers and duties of the office as acting president. Thereafter, the president transmits to the president pro temp of the Senate and the Speaker of the House his written declaration that no inability exists. He shall resume the powers and duties of his office unless the VP and the majority of either the principal officers of the executive department or such other body as Congress may by law provide, transmit within 4 days to the President pro tem of the Senate and Speaker of the House their written declaration that the President is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office. Thereupon, Congress shall decide the issue, assembling within 48 hours for that purpose, if not in session, if the Congress within 21 days after receipt of the latter written declaration, or if Congress is not in session within 21 days after Congress is required to assembly, determined by 2/3 vote of both houses that the President is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office, the Vice President shall continue to discharge the same as acting President. Otherwise, the President shall resume the powers of his office. Okay, so that was a lot. Sound very long-winded reading all that. Let's just break this down. Let's put this in layman's terms. What's going on here? So in order for the 25th Amendment to be used, you need a vice president and the cabinet. When it's talking about the principal officers of the executive department, it's talking about the cabinet. There are 15 cabinet members. Let's take a look at this real quick. So this is who you need. You need Kamala Harris and at least 8 of these individuals. At least 8 of them. Secretary of State, Secretary, Treasurer. We've seen these people before. Janet Yellen getting high on shrooms. Don't know anything about his job. Anthony Blinken. Lloyd Austin. Remember that whole controversial with him. Merrick Garland. Don't even get me started. And we even got Pete Buttigieg. He's in here. So you need at least 8 of these individuals to come together to attempt to oust the president. So what would happen? Kamala Harris would arrange a meeting with all 15 of these individuals. They would all decide, at least 8 of them, if at least 8 of them agree with the vice president, they would sign and send a letter to the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, and to the Senate pro tem, Patty Murray, who's the highest ranking member of the Democrat Party in the Senate. That's who takes the position of the Senate pro tem, the highest ranking member of the majority party. So right now it's Patty Murray. So the cabinet with Kamala Harris will have to send a letter saying that Joe Biden is senile, he lost his rabbit ass mind. They will send this letter to Mike Johnson and to Patty Murray. And once they receive this letter, immediately, without Joe Biden even saying anything, immediately Kamala Harris takes the power of the presidency and Joe Biden is stripped of it. Joe Biden can come back and say, what the hell? I'm not crazy. What are these people talking about? He sends the letter to them. And now Kamala Harris has 4 days. If she doesn't say anything within 4 days, the powers goes back to him. But if she sends a letter saying, yes, he is crazy, she keeps that power. And now Congress has to have an emergency session. And they'll have 21 days to decide. They'll argue. Both sides will argue. Kamala Harris then will say, well, he's senile, he lost his mind. These are the medical conditions. These are the examples. This is national security. Joe Biden's side will say, no, he hasn't. He's strong. He's vibrant, blah, 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 blah. And it will take 2/3 of the House and the Senate to agree. If the House and the Senate both agree, 2/3 majority agree, then Kamala Harris immediately becomes the president and Joe Biden is ousted from office. So to summarize, basically the VP and the cabinet accuse the president of being senile or losing his marbles. And the president says, no, I'm not senile. And the vice president says, yes, you are senile. And Congress has to take a vote on it. So that's a layman's terms breakdown of the 25th Amendment. Will they activate it? I guess we'll see. Let me know what you guys think. Leave me your thoughts in the comments below. Share the video. Thanks for watching.